I woke on a Sunday morning, expecting it to be one of my standard routine Sundays, i.e., lazy and most often boring, though the sequence of events following this were quite the contrary, as my parents had scheduled me and my brothers to volunteer at the St. Vincent de Paul dining room. For those unaware, St. Vincent de Paul is an incredibly benevolent organization that strives to serve the disadvantaged and indigent all over the United States. And at this specific location, we served meals to the homeless free of charge. In the beginning, I was averse to this notion of community service, probably more the notion of waking up at 6 in the morning, but with much reluctance I caved in. So my brothers and I trudged along over to the car and sat inside. And approximately 30 minutes later, we arrived at the St. Vincent de Paul dining room. Subsequently, a man came out to greet us and orient us with the area. So we walked inside the building and soon realized that to even call this place unsettling is a misnomer, as with seemingly insane and deranged people abound, my brothers and I were definitely frightened. Nonetheless, my brothers and I became accustomed to this and found it almost amusing until a seemingly sane man began to converse with us. But we soon did realize that he too was deranged. Like most of the others, we tried to ignore him, but this was futile, as he talked incessantly. To begin, he uttered a simple statement: "I'm a consumer." I could not understand what point he was trying to convey, but I continued listening intently. He then began to expound upon more of his life and achievements by saying that he had the capacity to speak over 400 languages. So at this point, I was dumbfounded by what was prompting him to say these ludicrous statements. But he continued further by saying that he had a degree in psychology from UCLA and that he served in World War II. Now I am in utter disbelief, and I'm starting to exchange glances between my brothers. Even more peculiar was his interspersing of "don't do drugs" between every factoid of his. By saying this, I believe that this man had benevolent intentions, but did not know how to articulate them properly. He was obviously attempting to convey to us not to even dabble into the world of drugs, as they may have affected his. He deserved considerably more acknowledgement and compassion from those surrounding him. So I did not leave this experience unaltered. I became wary of the distinction between what others say or do and intend to say or do. And I now realize that there are none too inferior to warrant acknowledgement from me. Overall, this was an incredibly humbling experience because I realized that all humans have something to advocate for, but may not have the means to do so. Thus, I believe that all of society should speak these elusive 400 languages, specifically the language of compassion.